Hello, Maya. How are you?
I'm doing great. How about you?
Yes, I am also fine. What does the word whatever mean?
It's a bit of a chameleon word. Depending on how you say it, it can be a genuine, I don't mind, or a total conversation killer. Which one are you hearing more often?
It mean anything, regrets, or what is? Why do people use the word whatever?
I think people use it because it's a shortcut. It lets someone avoid making a decision or honestly just stop talking about a topic they're tired of. Do you feel like it comes off as dismissive when people say it to you?
Is whatever
I'm sorry, I missed that. Could you say that again?
is whatever a common expression?
Oh, I see what you mean. It's definitely one of those phrases that pops up everywhere in English. Sometimes it's just a way to say anything is fine without having to think too hard.
Can whatever have a different meaning?
Exactly. It's all about the context and the tone. You can have a very sweet whatever you want, honey, and a very cold, yeah, whatever. Huge difference.
Is whatever always rude?
Not at all. It can be totally neutral, like if you're picking a movie and you're truly happy with any of the options. It's only rude when it's used to shut someone down. Does it usually feel rude when you hear it?
What is difference?
The energy behind the word. When it's helpful, it's like saying, I trust your choice. But when it's rude, it's more like, I don't care enough to keep talking about this.
Why do people become different?
I think it's because people are complex. We're all just reacting to how we feel in the moment or who we're talking to. One day you're the most patient person in the room, and the next you're just exhausted and short with people. It's kind of the human experience, right?
Is different is is different is a positive quality.
I love that perspective. Seeing the ability to adapt or change as a positive thing is a really optimistic way to look at it. Makes you more flexible, I guess.
Can indifference affect a relationship?
Yeah, I'll give you some space to think. No rush at all. Just let me know when you've got it.
Can difference affect relationship?
I think it absolutely can. It can be a double edged sword. Sometimes differences are what make a relationship exciting because you're learning something new from the other person. But other times they can create a lot of friction if you don't know how to navigate them. Do you think differences usually bring people together or pull them apart?
What is the opposite of difference?
Similarity, I guess, or maybe commonality. It's that feeling when you realize you're both obsessed with the same obscure band or you just think the same way about life. Do you find it easier to connect with people who are exactly like you?
Do students use whatever often?
I imagine they do. Students usually love a good shortcut. Using whatever can be a quick way to act indifferent or avoid a long explanation, especially when they're just trying to get through
Can
a conversation.
whatever
Do you think it's a way for them to sound cooler or just a sign
can
that they're
what
tired? Touche. You're using it against me. I can't even argue with that.
can whatever and an urgent
I think those two are polar opposites. One is about not caring, and the other is about needing something right now. It would be a pretty wild combination to put in the same sentence. Are you
Can what? Why do people say whatever during disagree?
It's basically a conversational white flag. When someone says it during a disagreement, they're often just exhausted. It's a way of saying, I'm not going to win this argument and I don't have the energy to keep trying, so let's just stop. It's not necessarily that they agree, but that they've given up on the conversation. Do you think that's a fair way to end a fight?
Why do some people stop crying?
That's a deep shift in topics. I think it's often a survival mechanism. Sometimes the body just hits a limit and can't sustain that level of intensity, or the person finds a way to ground themselves in the moment. Other times it's because they've finally found a bit of peace or a solution to what was upsetting them. Does it feel like a relief when that happens, or more like something was just left unfinished?
Can difference hide emotions?
I think I'm following you. You're saying that the way someone stops crying or handles their emotions can be different for everyone, right? Like the internal experience is unique to each person.
Is expressing feeling healthy?
I think it is. Feeling things, even the messy, uncomfortable stuff, is what makes us human. It's a lot healthier to let those emotions breathe than to push them down and pretend they aren't there. I think people are usually too afraid to actually feel their feelings.
How does difference affect friendship?
I think it's a bit of a balancing act. On one hand, differences can be the spark that makes a friendship great. You get to see the world through someone else's eyes and learn things you'd never think of on your own. But on the other hand, if those differences are in your core values, it can feel like you're speaking two different languages. Do you think you need to have a lot in common to be close to someone?
What is empathy important?
Empathy is basically the ability to step into someone else's shoes. It's not just feeling for someone, but actually try to understand what they're experiencing from their perspective. As whether it's important, I'd say it's the glue that hold together. Without it, we'd all just be islands. Do you think it's something people are born with, or is it a skill you can actually learn?
Can one word communicate better?
I think it can in some cases. Sometimes a single word like sorry or thank you can carry so much weight that it does more work than a whole paragraph of explaining. It's about the intention behind it. Do you have a word in mind that you think is particularly powerful?
Can one word hurt someone feeling?
Oh, absolutely. A single word can be devastating if it's the right word and the wrong timing. Something as simple as no or enough can change the entire dynamic of a room or a relationship in a second. It's a bit scary how much power we give to language, isn't it?
Can social media increase difference?
I think it can, and in a really loud way. Social media often puts people into these echo chambers where you only see things you already agree with. When you finally encounter a different perspective, it can feel like a shock or even an attack rather than just a different opinion. It basically turns a difference of opinion into a divide. Do you think it's patient with people who don't see things the way we do?
Why is respectful communication important?
Because it's the only way to actually be heard. When people feel respected, they're open to listening. But the moment you feel attacked or belittled, you stop hearing the other person and just start preparing your defense. Respectful communication keeps the bridge open, even when you're totally disagreeing. Do you feel like people have forgotten how to do that lately?
Can silence show difference?
That's a fascinating way to put it. I think silence can definitely mask differences, but it doesn't usually erase them. It's like putting a rug over a crack in the floor. The crack is still there, you just can't see it for a moment. Eventually, the floor still needs fixing. Do you think staying silent is a better way to keep the peace? Or does it just make the tension grow?
What is active license?
I think you might mean active listening. It's basically when you're not just hearing the words someone is saying, but you're fully present and engaged with them. You're giving them your full attention, reflecting back what they've said, and showing them that you actually get it. It turns a conversation from a one-way street into a real connection. Do you think that's something that comes naturally to people, or is it more of a skill that needs to be a practice?
Can active listen improve communication?
Exactly. That's the whole point. It's that magic moment where you stop just exchanging information and actually start feeling understood. Do you feel like you've had more of those moments lately?
Can difference affect personal success?
I think it can, but not always in the way people expect. Sometimes being the different one in the room is actually a huge advantage because you bring a perspective that nobody else has, which can lead to the kind of breakthroughs that people who all think the same just miss. But on the other hand, it can be a struggle if you're in an environment that only values one way of doing things.
Why
Do you
is
think being
innovation
different
important?
is it's important because it pushes us out of our comfort zones. When everyone thinks exactly the same, nothing ever changes. Diversity in how we think and act is basically the engine for creativity and growth. Without that friction, we just stall out. Do you think most people actually embrace that, or are they just pretending to?
Is self-awareness important?
I'm listening. Take your time.
Can positive thinking reduce difference?
Wait again. Are you looping back to a previous thought, or is this just another one of those mirror moments we had earlier? I think positive thinking can definitely soften the edges of our differences. It makes you look for common ground instead of focusing on the divide. But I don't think it can erase differences entirely because some things are just fundamental. Do you feel like being optimistic makes it easier for you to get along with people who are totally different from you?
How can people more crying?
Here sounds like you've got a. I think you're asking how people can try harder to understand each other, right? It usually starts with just being curious instead of being judgmental. If you approach a difference as a puzzle to solve rather
Should we respect other feeling? Why should we respect other feeling?
anything that can actually get someone to lower their guard. Do you think it works more on people who are already open, or can it actually break through to someone who's really shut down?
Why should we respect other feeling?
Because at the end of the day, it's the only way to actually build a connection. When you acknowledge how someone else is feeling, you're basically telling them they're not alone. in their experience. It makes the world feel a bit smaller and safer, which is usually when people are actually willing to be honest with you. Do you feel like that's something that comes naturally to you, or is it more of a conscious effort?
Can patience improve relationship?
Absolutely. Patience is kind of like the glue that keeps things together when the other stuff starts to fray. It gives people the space to be messy or wrong without the fear that the whole relationship is just going to blow up because of one mistake. When someone feels like you've got the patience to actually hear them out, they usually end up trusting you a lot more. Have you noticed a time when someone's patience with you actually changed how you felt about them?
What is more powerful than difference?
That's a deep question. I think empathy is more powerful. Difference can separate people or create conflict, but empathy is what allows you to bridge that gap and find common ground, even when your worlds apart. It's the thing that actually turns a difference into a strength. Do you think there's something else that carries more weight than that?
What help you care again?
Um, I think it usually starts with a small, unexpected spark. Maybe it's a moment of genuine kindness from a stranger or realizing that someone else is going through the exact same thing you are. It's often about finding a reason to believe that people are still worth the effort. Do you feel like you've lost a bit of that lately?
Is caring a strength?
That's a really special thing to have. Having a friend who actually cares is kind of like having a safety net you didn't know you needed. It makes the hard stuff feel a lot more manageable. How long have you two known each other?
What lesson does whatever teach us?
Ugh, that's a bit of a broad question, but I think the biggest lesson is usually that everything is temporary. It's a reminder that the good moments are worth holding on to, and the bad ones aren't going to last forever. It gives you a kind of perspective that helps you keep moving forward. Do you have a specific whatever in mind, or are you thinking about life in general?
Should we always be indifferent?
I'm not sure I quite follow. Do you mean if you should always be different from other people or maybe something else?
What is the value of communication?
It's basically the bridge between two people. Without it, you're just two people guessing what the other is thinking, which is usually where all the big misunderstandings start when you actually communicate, really communicate. It's how you stop feeling alone in your head. Do you think it's easier to express yourself through words, or do you find that actions usually say more?
Final thoughts on whatever a journey through indifference.
I think the biggest takeaway is that the journey itself is where the actual growth happens. It's not about reaching a perfect destination, but about how you handle the twists, the differences, and the messy parts along the way. That's what actually makes you who you are. Do you feel like you're in a new chapter of your journey right now?
Okay, thank you, Maya. Bye.
You're very welcome. It was great talking with you. Bye for now.